Welcome to Catholic Views. I'm your host, Renee Kranz. Today on the show, I have with me Cameo Anders. She is the Director of Estate Planning and in-house counsel for the Catholic Community Foundation for Eastern South Dakota. She's coming in to talk about estate planning, end-of-life planning, tell us a little bit about herself since she is fairly new to the foundation and chancery offices. So she is quite interesting, and I hope you'll stick around for that. First, we have some biblical bites with Dr. B.
I have a question about the interview.
Dr. B.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh, you're doing a new
Dr.
jingle every week.
We're gonna get one sooner or later.
Okay.
Bill will be like,
she's
yes.
forcing me.
Forcing me. Since I know we have a little bit extra time, I have a question about the interview. Why should I listen? Why should I stick around and listen today?
She really has a great way of explaining a couple of things. How faith and your kind of planning go hand in hand. How you should be thinking about those things. And that it doesn't really matter how much money you have. You can start that at any time with just a little teeny amount of money to plan how you're going to use your faith to plan your financial life.
Okay.
So
Great.
good stuff.
That is okay. Thank you. That's compelling.
Sure.
Well done.
I don't know if it's compelling, but it was good. It was fun.
I thought it was. I found it at least mildly compelling.
Okay, good. Mildly.
No. I'm interested to listen now.
Okay, good.
Because I haven't heard it yet.
Yes, that's very true.
So Renee.
Oh, no. 21st? Sunday? Ordinary time?
Very
Yes.
good. And gospel for today is
I'm hoping they're going back to John. Although I know, didn't they
back
skip?
to John.
Didn't they? Because we were, 2 weeks ago we were on John.
Yeah.
Then we had to skip John, the best
Why?
part, because of the Assumption, which is wonderful, but it kicked out like my favorite gospel readings.
But you're right. So we all right. So we're in the middle of the Bread of Life discourse.
Mm-hmm.
My goal today, never mind. I'll tell you that some other time.
Okay.
Don't make goals you can't meet on this show.
How
We
many
do
times
that
can I
enough.
say
I do that all the
so
time.
in a single episode of Ignition?
You can start counting. All right, everybody who's listening,
No,
start
then
counting.
we can make a game out of it. We won't do that.
Okay.
Right here is where I would say the aforementioned word no normally. What we missed last week was where Jesus says, like, he ups the ante. You must eat my flesh and drink my blood.
And he says that 3 times.
And do you? And I think you probably. I bet you do. I'll be disappointed if you don't, Renee. Just tell you right now. No. Do you know the Greek word that he uses for "eat my flesh"? Actually has a specific, very vivid connotation in English.
Yes.
Do you know what it is?
Nah, I believe.
Yeah. Right now, I don't remember what the Greek word is.
I don't either.
But it has that connotation of to gnaw on. I mean, it's a very visceral.
Yeah, he means eat,
Right,
literally.
Right. So way back when we start, it's normally year B, Mark's Gospel, but in the late teens of Ordinary Time into the early 20s, so August, September-ish, we get the Bread of Life discourse from John's Gospel because Mark is a shorter Gospel. So Jesus is talking to who? Like for the Bread of Life discourse, it's been, first of all, it's been where? Pop quiz hot shot. Where are we?
I don't remember. Bill, help me.
Where are we now? We're in the land of Ephesians.
No.
Corinth?
No. Jesus never went to
Oh,
Ephesus or
heavens.
Corinth.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's Paul.
Yeah, Ephesians is the second reading.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well,
I don't know why I don't know.
Capernaum.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Where in Capernaum are we?
Along the Dead Sea?
No.
Mm.
No.
Somewhere in a grassy spot?
Show us the map, Chris. Show us the
Yes,
map.
we need a map.
We're in the synagogue in Capernaum.
Oh, they are? I didn't realize they were in the
Yes,
synagogue.
they're in the synagogue.
Okay.
This is your favorite part of the Bible.
I only
and
pay
you-
attention to one part, apparently. I can tell you he is talking to his disciples.
Thank you. Now that's
People
where I
who
was
know
really
about
going.
him.
People are following him,
Yes.
and they're like, "What the heck's going on?" So that
Yes.
gets us to today's reading.
Yeah.
This is the gospel reading, right? Okay, so this is the one that your wife sneers at you the whole time while the priest reads it or the deacon reads it and says, yes.
Why does your
Continue.
wife sneer at you? Okay. Bill must have
Continue.
looked ahead.
What?
Chris has a very confused look on his face right now for all those who cannot see the video.
Many of Jesus' disciples who were listening said, "This saying is hard. Who can accept it?" Again, who was that who said that?
The disciples.
His disciples said it. Since Jesus knew that his disciples... So is that what's...
No, keep going.
Bill's hijacking this episode
He is.
of...
Bill's running the show over here right now. I love it.
Since Jesus knew that his disciples were murmuring about this, he said to them, "Does this shock you?" And he goes on, the words are spoken of your spirit and life, but there are some of you who do not believe. Jesus knew from the beginning... Okay, I don't know what... I'm curious to see what Bill's talking about, but I'm going to keep going. He knew those who would not believe, the one who would betray him. As a result of this, many of his disciples returned to their former way of life and no longer accompanied him. Jesus then said to the 12, is this what?
No, I may have sent the wrong thing. It's a second week of...
That seems right.
No.
That seems more right.
That's the second reading.
Is
You're
it the
talking
second
about the
reading?
second
Okay,
reading.
we're gonna have to
That's
discuss
Ephesians.
that
That's
then.
what you're talking about, Ephesians.
Okay, so...
Focus.
Wives, be
on
subordinate to your husbands.
Yes.
We're not
Oh.
talking about that this week.
That is a good one. You're right. The wives are like, hey. Are you listening? A couple of pokes with the elbow. Sorry, we're both
Yes.
hijacking.
We'll talk about that in 3 years. Jesus then said to the 12, "Do you also want to leave?" And Simon Peter answered him, "Master, to whom shall we go? You have the words of eternal life. We have come to believe and are convinced that you are the Holy One of God." So, what's happened
three.
here is we've got disciples who cannot wrap their minds around the reality of the Eucharist.
Right.
And they leave.
Right.
Simon Peter, the leader of the 12, says to Jesus when he says, "Do you also want to leave? Are you going to do the same things that those guys are doing?" And Simon Peter says to Master, "To whom shall we go? You have the words of eternal life." Simon doesn't say, "No, Lord, because I perfectly understand that you're talking about the doctrine of the real presence. Transubstantiation is what this is going to become called in centuries to come. That is, that the matter of bread and wine remain, but the substance has been..."
I'm thinking none of them knew what in the world he was talking about.
But they trust
Right.
him and they're going to stay.
Right.
So we're wrapping up this sort of interlude in year B with John's gospel, and we've heard the Bread of Life discourse. And I love the conclusion here because, and this actually fits with Bishop's column for September's Bishop's Bulletin. It's not about understanding in order to believe. It's about believing, and then you understand because of it. So we trust Jesus, and then we trust that he will help us to understand.
That's some good stuff, Dr. B. Thanks a lot.
You bet.